and gentlemen at the Airshow 95 here in Nevada, and it is my great pleasure to welcome you all to the debut display of Certek flying the MiG-21 BIS in a display known as the Soviet Superstar. Certek prepares to pull into the vertical for the first manoeuvre of his sequence, the half Cuban 8. I think you will be able to agree with me that he has chosen a very unique aircraft to debut at the DCS Airshow, in the form of the Mikhail Gurevich MiG-21 BIS, NATO codename Fishbed. This aircraft provides some unique flying characteristics and challenges for Certek to manage and craft into a very well-woven aerobatic display such as this. About to bank out to the right to set up on the B-axis for his second Those of you who are in any way familiar with the Cold War period of history will be familiar with the Cold War interceptors of the time. These aircraft were designed to climb high and fast to intercept the Cold War bombers of the day and shoot them down before they could reach their targets. The MiG-21 is just one of these fighters, but through its long production run and used by over 60 different countries, it has gained the reputation as a legend. MiG-21 is a Delta Wing supersonic interceptor fighter, first flying on the 16th of June 1955, making it an over 40-year-old design, but it is still very capable and very present within multiple nations' militaries today. About to set up on the right-hand side of the A-axis to come in for an iconic manoeuvre of aerobatic displays, this is the 4-point hesitation roll. Showcasing incredible roll precision and control there during the manoeuvre. Certek will now bank round to the left and set up on the left-hand side of the display axis for his next manoeuvre. The production numbers of the MiG-21 are surely staggering to witness, with over 11,490 examples being produced. Most of those, over 10,000, were built in the USSR, with 640 in India and 194 in Czechoslovakia. Inbound from the left, now for the minimum radius turn. Certek having to work incredibly hard here to keep the nose on the horizon not to dip too low or too high to breach the airshow regulations, but also having to keep the speed high to not induce a stall within the aircraft. Keeping the display precise, but also finding time to add some little flourishes here and there, such as those aileron rolls upon his exit of that manoeuvre. We're about to see more of those aileron rolls, as I mentioned, as Certek positions the aircraft out to the right, ready for some more dedicated aileron rolls on this pass. Let's see how many you can count, as this MiG-21 has incredible roll performance. Prepare yourselves. About you, but I certainly lost count. Certek now positioning the aircraft out to the left, ready to position for a manoeuvre that will showcase the opposite of what we just saw. We've seen how fast the MiG-21 can roll, but now let's see how slowly. Inbound now from the left, Certek gets prepared for the double slow rolls. and pulling up into the vertical ready for the third half Cuban 8 of his display. Approximately 60 countries, as I mentioned, have operated and or continue to operate the MiG-21 in some capacity within their air arms. And the MiG-21 is the most produced supersonic jet aircraft in aviation history. As I mentioned, garnering it the moniker of a legend of the Soviet bloc. Inbound now from the right for the double inverted pass. This variant of the MiG-21 is the BIS model, which is powered by one Turmansky R25-300 afterburning turbojet, producing a remarkable 15,640 pounds of force with afterburner engaged. This can propel the MiG-21 at speeds at altitude of up to Mach 2.05 and keeping a supersonic speed at sea level even despite this. Inbound now from the left, we're about to pull up for the loop. Changing the dynamic of his display midway through, though, the landing gear is being extended as Certek prepares to set the aircraft up in its slow speed state portion of the display. To work very hard to keep the aircraft steady, as this being a delta-wing design, it does not like slow-speed flight, becomes very unstable and difficult to control. With very little, if any, fly-by-wire control systems on board, it is all manual flying, meaning Certek is working very hard in that cockpit to make sure his aircraft doesn't breach safety parameters and also doesn't put him or the aircraft in danger. About to come round from the left with the landing gear extended. It's a wonderful look at the undersurfaces of this iconic Soviet fighter. That Turmansky afterburning turbojet to pull the aircraft into the vertical with the landing gear extended, showcasing the incredible performance of this aircraft. The MiG-21's primary role is of course a supersonic interceptor, and thus it could carry a very different collection of armaments to complete this task. Bread and butter, if you will, was one internal 23mm autocannon with 200 rounds, but externally it had 5 hardpoints, 4 underwing and 1 ventral, which could carry any combination of fuel tanks to extend its range, rockets, air-to-air missiles and bombs to even complete CAS duties. MiG-21s have been used in several different conflicts throughout history, most notably its combat debut was during the 1965 to 1973 Vietnam War, where North Vietnamese MiG-21s went up against American F-4 Phantoms, F-105 Thunderchiefs and other aircraft types, and achieved an impressive kill-to-loss ratio and a reputation as a very capable interceptor fighter. Certek now has set the aircraft up on the left-hand side, positioning at high speed, ready for his high-speed pass before a vertical climb. And not that he's going to be quite reaching it here today in this display, but the service ceiling of the MiG-21 is over 57,000 feet. Truly impressive for an aircraft built in the mid to late 50s. Alas, we are sadly approaching the end of the Soviet Superstar display. We really do hope you have been enjoying the manoeuvres thus far. We're not quite finished yet, but alas, soon we will be. Certek now positioning the aircraft out to the right as he descends from space, quite fitting considering the name of this display, ready to give you a wing wave to say goodbye. I'd like to take this moment to thank some very special people who helped to make this display possible, starting off with Mark for being the cameraman for this display and giving us his time to film this showcase for you. Nextly, Quetz for designing the beautiful Polish livery that you are seeing on this aircraft today. And finally, to the Aeroflight Live team for hosting us at our debut airshow. Certek waving goodbye as he banks around to the right, preparing to set up for his landing approach. We have immensely enjoyed our time preparing and performing at the Airshow 95 here in Nevada, with the beautiful blue skies and the backdrop marking a perfect way to start our DCS career. We look forward to maybe coming back in future for further iterations of this wonderful airshow, hosted by its wonderful team of dedicated people alongside our fellow aviation professionals. But now, ladies and gentlemen, Certek positioning the aircraft, landing gear coming down, ready for his landing approach. From all of us at the Soviet Superstar team, we thank you for watching, and we bid you a fond farewell until our next airshow appearance, wherever or whenever that may be. Hearing from Certek on the radio, we might even get a deployment of the brake chute. Always a treat to see at an airshow, and I'm sure one that will be appreciated here as much as any other show. Ladies and gentlemen, you've been watching Pilot Certek with the Soviet Superstar display. I have been your commentator, Combat Curious, and from me and Certek, it's thank you very much. Goodbye.